You know, John has a job to do also, but apparently he's edging for agent of Carlos Mendoza.
He has an agent. He has
Oh,
Adam Katz. Yeah, I'm not.
okay, that's
Don't
right.
get me in trouble
He
here.
shares that with Aaron Boone also. They both have Adam,
Yeah.
right? John, the Mets have made a ton of news this month, and it's fitting we have a friend of the show, somebody who's been with us a couple of times. Their manager, Carlos Mendoza, is joining us.
Yeah, we love to have Mendoza on. He is a terrific speaker, a terrific face of the team, and I just can't wait to hear what he has to say about all the changes with the Mets.
Yeah, we'll be talking about all those changes, who went, how he thinks about that, who's in, where he thinks they stand. John and I at the top of the show are going to play a little game of which moves by the New York teams we like and dislike the most and least. And also we'll do that for the league. At the very end, we have another special guest. Harrison Bader is going to join us, who just signed with the Giants. If you stick with us on the show with Joel Sherman and Jon Heyman. John, since we were last on, it happened soon after we were on last week and did our podcast. The Mets made a trade for Freddie Peralta to get the front of the rotation starter. They were hoping to get, it kind of feels like the Mets and the Yankees have done all their heavy lifting they're going to do now. The Yankees' heavy lifting was essentially, could they bring back Cody Bellinger or not? They've done that. The Mets did a series of moves, obviously, a flurry at the end with Peralta, Robert Jr., and Bo Bichette. So I thought, John, we'd play a little game. See if the folks who are nice enough to listen and watch us want to play along and see if they agree with us or disagree with us. The best and worst moves so far by the New York teams, feeling like the heavy lifting is done. John, why don't we start? Best move by the Mets.
Well, you mentioned it. I'm going to go with the Peralta move. Now, I'm sure if you look at the values that they assign to all the prospects, it'll look negative to some people based on the fact that Jed Williams is a very good prospect, and so is Sproat. But the Mets absolutely needed to get a number one pitcher. The prices were very, very high in all these trades. I mean, all of them, Shane Baz, all of them. And this guy is the best guy who's been traded. I mean, obviously, he's not schoolable, nobody is, but he is the number one pitcher. I happen to love Freddie Peralta. He'll be great in the clubhouse. He was a guy who actually offered to translate for me in that Milwaukee clubhouse. You know, it's a small market. They don't have an actual translator. They have a coach who does the translating. Coach was busy, not a surprise. And he speaks perfect English, perfect Spanish. I speak okay English, terrible Spanish. And he stepped in and was willing to do it. So it's a terrific guy. He's a number one starter. They absolutely needed to do it. I see the Mets are now ranked number three in some ranking, whatever those are worth. But they needed to do it. And so that's my number one Mets pick.
Yeah, you know, the bets on like BetMGM are tied with the Phillies for the second most over-under projections at 90 and a half. You know, the Dodgers are like 102.5 or 103.5. Everyone's behind them. So whatever they've done, especially late, has at least the betting markets seeing them as a very strong team, though, of course, they saw them as a strong team last year. John, I'm going to take best seriously here, the best move. I'm not saying it's the most impactful move because I think that will be end up being probably Peralta or Bichette. I think their best move was Luis Robert Jr. And in a way, it was because of all the other moves. And how little they gave up. Look, Acuna will probably Angel Acuna will probably play in the major leagues for quite a while as a utility guy because he could really defend and really run. It's two skills that will help. Maybe he'll hit enough at some point to be a starting second baseman. But that and a pitching lottery guy who they took in the draft last year who hardly pitched is a good trade to me for a guy whose baseline, if he stays healthy, is play terrific defense up the middle. And again, I like it for the other things they've done with Simeon. And then you add Lindor, Alvarez, Torrens. They're really strong up the middle. Robert is a really good defender. A guy who could run and run at a high success rate, a la Carlos Beltran, who just got in the Hall of Fame. This guy steals and steals successfully. He hits lefty pitching, which helps diversify their lineup, and he hits some home runs. Low batting average, high strikeouts. The high strikeouts don't bother me as much because Bichette, Simeon, and Polanco are all guys who don't strike out a lot, added to Lindor and Soto, who don't strike out a lot. I like that. And look, I think there's a real downside. The guy's been injured, he's had a low batting average, and he strikes out a ton. Is this turn out to be a grander, more expensive version of Jose Siri? Maybe, but I for what they gave up and what the upside is and how he shoehorns in on the team, I really love that move by the Mets.
Yeah, They did a lot in a week, right? They remade the team in a week. Things looked bad. We were kind of down on the Mets, as were all their fans. Not that this was all done in a week. The groundwork of this was laid a long time ago. Peralta, they started working on during the season. Robert, we know, was at the deadline last year, so that's been many, many months, like 9 months. And and maybe not nine. My math wasn't too good.
Yeah.
7 months, and I think all these moves took a while, and they all came down in a week, and the result of it is very positive for the Mets.
Yeah, why don't we flip to the Yankees, who kind of essentially it was all stay in house, re-sign, plus Ryan Weathers in a trade. What was your favorite thing, John?
Well, I guess it's Bellinger, right? They needed to get it done. They stuck to the 5 years. I mean, I think it's a good deal for Bellinger. He's makes going to make 85 million over the next 2 years, which is actually more than Aaron Judge makes by 5 million if he opts out. I don't know that he's going to opt out when he's 32, though. He's already been a free agent a lot. I think he likes being a Yankee, but I think it was a good deal for him, and I think it was the right deal for the Yankees. They did a nice job with it, and I think it's good that he's back. Judge is happy. If Judge is happy, I think the Yankees are in good shape.
Yeah, I think I'm going to agree with you, John. I wish I could tell you there was one I liked better than that, but I think he's a Swiss Army knife. He plays left, center, right. The fact that he also plays first base at a high level matters because Ben Rice is going to be there in case the defense really does struggle there. You could always move Bellinger late in the game and use somebody else in the outfield. I know the 2 years at 85 up front made some people a little queasy. Not me, John. I like as a WAR player the last 3 years, he's kind of right in between Bichette and Tucker, who both got over 40 million on short-term deals on 3 and 4 year deals. And this is a 2 year deal if he opts out. If it's a 5 year deal, those last 3 years are more in line with what he should probably be paid in that period. The Yankees strike out way too much. He doesn't strike out. The Yankees baseball athleticism and IQ got a little better last year, but that was a lot because of him. It was good they brought him back. John, worst move by the Mets. What didn't you like?
Uh, Losing Diaz, bringing in Devin Williams for Diaz, I don't see that. Diaz was the best closer in their history. I mean, I guess someone can make a case for Tug McGraw, but he was an outstanding closer, maybe the best in the league. And Devin Williams, I'm still worried about because he wasn't a very good closer when he was the Yankee closer.
Yeah, to me, again, John, I wish I could tell you I differ with you. It's the move I didn't like either. I get how volatile relief pitching could be. And by the way, Edwin Diaz was volatile as a Met. There were very, very good years. There were not so good years. And there was obviously an injury, a freak injury, but an injury right in the middle that cost them a season. We know how this could go. But I am always worried about the underlying number argument for a pitcher. That's the Devin Williams argument that the underlying numbers were not that far off from the guy who was dominant in Milwaukee. If anyone should know that player, it's David Stearns. He was the general manager who brought Devin to the majors, and he had great success with the Brewers. It was a sub 2 ERA the last 3 years before the Yankees acquired him. But on the field and in the clubhouse, I'll take Edwin Diaz 7 days a week, twice on Sunday. With the Mets' money, I wonder if they could have and should have had them both. Flip side, Yankees' worst move, John.
Yeah, I think it's giving Grisham the qualifying offer, 22 million, which you reported first was going to be 22 million. I like them could have seen Grisham going somewhere else and them getting the draft choice, and I think that's what some of them envisioned, and it didn't turn out to be correct. So I can't kill him since I thought Grisham might be able to get a 3 for 45 somewhere else, but in retrospect, looking back at it, I think it was going to be hard with that qualifying offer for Grisham to get a 3 for 45, right? So I think it was an error because I don't know that he's necessary. You've got a lot of outfielders on this team, right? You've got Bellinger. I'm still a believer in Dominguez. Obviously, we're a little skeptical after last year. Spencer Jones is coming. I don't think it was necessary. He obviously was pretty good last year. He hit more home runs than any other center fielder in the game. So I can't kill him for it. They're running the whole team back, right? It's the same team. So I think the fans aren't going to be thrilled. Overall, I think they'll be better, right? Because they'll have Cole for the year. They'll have Schlittler for presumably the year, although he's not going to throw 200 innings. It'll have him for more than they had him last year. So I think they're actually going to be better, and I don't mind that they brought the team back. But Grisham at 22 million, that's an overpay.
Again, like a more unbiased view is BetMGM has them with the second highest over-under total in the major leagues behind the Dodgers, so the top one in the American League, over Seattle, over Toronto, etc. So, yeah, and John, I got to say, Grisham is not my choice here. Like I heard a lot of people, Yankee fans who love to whine about everything, saying, well, they got Grisham, so they won't bring back Bellinger. Well, they did. Like it wasn't like the money kept them from getting Bellinger. I don't think they like the idea of Bellinger playing full time in center. I don't know if they think Spencer Jones is close to ready to do that, play full time in center. So they needed somebody to play center field, and I would quite frankly rather have Trent Grisham for 1 year at 22 million than three at 45. Again, if the here's another place, the underlying
I
number,
think everybody agreed with you. I don't think
yeah,
anyone was
yeah,
paying that 3 for 45. I think
right.
you were right.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't mind it as a 1 year gamble that he's going to repeat something that looked like last year when he was not only powerful but clutch. He had a ton of big hits, especially homers for them. For me, the downside play, and I almost mean this symbolically as opposed to on the guy, is the Paul Blackburn for 2 million. And here's why. I still think the Yankees are a pitcher short. And you could tell me that's a reliever. You could tell me that's a starter. You could tell me it's a better hybrid than Paul Blackburn. But at a time where, like, the big move this offseason after Grisham, money wise, was going to be on Bellinger, I feel like you mentioned it, John. If it goes perfectly and Rodon comes back May 1st, Cole June 1st, Clark Schmidt August 1st, and they're close to who they've been, and you get Schlittler and Ryan Weathers and Luis Gil, like I can make an argument that will be the best rotation in the American League. It still worries me because there's enough flammability there. And I think they're a reliever short, especially a power lefty, which they don't have. Their lefties are Tim Hill and Ryan Yarbrough if they don't need Yarbrough in the rotation. So I'm using Blackburn more as a symbolic. I think they're one pitcher short right now.
Yeah, absolutely. There aren't a ton of relievers left. I think Coulomb is still left, the lefty reliever. Yeah, I'm with you. They could use more help in that bullpen. I don't love either team's bullpen. I like both teams. I think overall they're in very good shape. Some of the Mets are in a lot better shape than we thought they were going to be, but I think they're both a little short in the bullpen. Obviously, the Mets added some bullpen pieces late. Luis Garcia, who you mentioned first, and some others, obviously. They got one in the Milwaukee trade with Peralta, with Myers, who could be a reliever. But I feel like the bullpens are still a question mark for both teams.
Yeah, look, like Harrison Bader signed today, John, as we're doing this, a 2 year deal with San Francisco. Financially, should the Yankees have let Grisham go and be like, let's bring in Bader to be at least like the center fielder for 2 years? I haven't heard the money on it, but let me guess it's going to be like 10 to 12 million in there, I would guess,
Right,
right?
20.5
Oh,
for
okay.
the
So
two
you
years.
actually
Yeah,
know the number. So
right.
it's in that 20 million. Would the Yankees have been better off doing that and then like having a little more money to spend on another pitcher in some way, a reliever, a starter, instead of bringing Grisham back? Again, like they have to make the Grisham decision when I think Bader, etc., was going to be looking for a lot more years and money than two at 20.5. So they had to make that decision. Could Bellinger have held them even more hostage if they didn't have Grisham? So, like things play in a way, but it's just something to think about. John,
I'm with you. I think Bader, a right-handed bat, better defensively. Grisham is still okay defensively, but I don't think he was as good last year as he'd been in the past. Obviously, Grisham gives you more power, but Bader played great for the Phillies, and as you know, he's a friend of the show, so that
yes.
always helps as well. But yeah, in retrospect, looking back on it, related to the Grisham, yeah, I would have done Bader instead of Grisham and got
John,
the
let's
pitcher. Right.
let's end the segment by talking big picture. There are 28 other teams in the sport. Tell me the move, the free agent move that you like the best so far from one of those 28 teams.
Well, I'll say one that a lot of people probably have already said and thought, and that's Bregman to the Cubs. It gives them four now Gold Glove caliber defenders. I think the best, at least on paper, defensive team in the league. Gives them extra leadership capability. He had a nice year last year. Didn't play a full season with Boston. I'm surprised the Cubs spent. They don't always spend, so I'm going with the Bregman of the Cubs.
Yeah, somehow in my gut I thought you were going to go there. I had two other ones. I'll say one that was going to. I just love Ranger Suarez. I think he's so good. I know he lost 3 miles per hour. There's got to be some worries there, but that guy is so fearless. 5 at 130 with the Red Sox. The one I really like, though, I'm going to point out is Murakami to the White Sox, 2 at 34. I just like the upside play for a team like the White Sox. Let's say it's a 50-50 chance that it translates here. That's a 50-50% worth chance for a team that's lost 324 games the last 3 years. And you're trying to change the narrative and you'd like to get a little bit of a foothold in Asia and show that you're a real serious team. For that amount of money, especially once they get rid of the Robert contract where, like this becomes a little easier to handle. I just like the play for them if it works, what they could trade him for over the next 2 years if need be. I just thought it was a smart, good move.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think you're right on. 2 for 34. I think I predicted he was going to get 150. So that tells you what I know about the Japanese market. Not very much. He did it 56 home runs one year. He's only 25 years old. Obviously the team scouted him. They know more about the risk, but the upside is huge. So great job by the White Sox. White Sox did some stuff. It was good. It
Yeah.
was a good winter in Chicago. It turned out to be. Didn't start out that way, and it's certainly in terms of weather, it's a disaster. As my daughter is there right now, but in terms of baseball, it was a very nice winter for Chicago.
I hope she's staying warm. Who did you not like, John? Which free agent deal so far this offseason were you not crazy about?
Well, if anyone's been reading the Post, they probably could guess, and that's Kyle Tucker. Now, of course, the Dodgers can afford it. They're making so much money on Ohtani. They can do whatever they want. They have an all-time great team. It makes the team better. I don't know. To me, $60 million a year for Kyle Tucker. I mean, he was like, I don't know, 40th in WAR. Not that WAR is everything, like 75th in RBIs. He did not have a great year. He's got a little bit of an injury question, not a big one. I mean, he's a terrific all-around player. I mean, certainly that's going to help them, but it just seemed out of whack to me. And they usually make pretty good deals, right? Mookie Betts is a great deal. Freddie Freeman's a great deal. Otani's the greatest deal in sports history. It just seemed out of whack to me for the Dodgers and unnecessary. No, and I said it was great for baseball that the Dodgers, that Otani picked the Dodgers, and I know people in Toronto weren't too happy with it. I hope they do know I love Toronto. To me, this might be fine for baseball because it's great to have a team that's this great, but to me, it was unnecessary. They already had a great team. They didn't need to spend $60 million on an outfielder.
I guess this is the moment where I should say I love Toronto too. Because our aggregator assholes are going to take this and totally misinterpret it, and I'll have a whole country on me. I think Dylan Cease is a very good pitcher who will probably help the Blue Jays. I think 7 for 210, even with deferrals, is out of whack for this pitcher. He is a little bit like Devin Williams, or by the way, Frankie Montas, where the underlying numbers are very sexy and everyone is always convinced they're going to get the best. Now, he's not Frankie Montas. He's healthy. This guy makes the starts. You know what he doesn't do, though, is for the starts, he doesn't throw big innings. He like averages 5 1/3. He throws a lot of pitches for plate appearance. He throws a lot of pitches to cover those 15, 16, 17 outs. There's not a ton of quality starts over the last 3 years. He's had mid-4 ERAs 2 times in the last 3 years. Now, I know some Blue Jay folks, this was the key to their offseason. This was the guy I mean, I guess it wasn't. They would have loved to have some of maybe Tucker, right? But they felt that putting a beachhead down and they were willing to go high to bring Cease in, to bring stability to the rotation. And again, if he's nothing but what he's been, which is an above average pitcher who makes the starts, he'll help the Blue Jays. I am not saying this is a bad player or that he won't help the Blue Jays. I think 7 for 210 is out of whack for what he has done in his major league career, unless he's ready to turn ability into constant results, which he has not done to this point. Because ability wise, I'd put him near the top of the scale.
Yeah, I'm with you. As I said, I love Toronto. I love Dylan Cease. He's a great guy, not only a great pitcher, very interesting fellow. But you're right, he doesn't throw big innings per start. I get what you're saying. You're right that Montas is, in terms of dependability, this guy is at the top of the
Yeah.
heap. So
I
that's
was
right.
talking underlying those
I
underlying
got you.
stats that
A
people
lot
like.
of right, a lot of pitches per inning, a few innings per start. He does throw a lot of starts. Uh, it's a big deal considering, and we still have Framber Valdez out there, who's actually been a much more productive pitcher than Dylan Cease, and he's not getting $210 million at this point, right? I mean, if he does, that's the agent of the year. But he's a better pitcher than Dylan. I mean, at least he's performed better than Dylan Cease to this point in their careers.
Yeah, yeah. Look, I think Toronto's going to be very good. I think Dylan Cease will help them. Obviously, the team that's done the most in January is the New York Mets. They've made trades, big free agents, even some little stuff like Luis Garcia. We're going to talk about it all with their manager, Carlos Mendoza, who joins us next on the show. John and I are thrilled to have a friend of the show, somebody who's been with us a few times. The manager of the New York Mets, about to begin his third season with the team, Carlos Mendoza. Carlos, thank you so much for joining us on the show.
Thanks for having me, Joel. And John, how
Uh,
are you?
Good.
Good. Uh, Carlos, obviously your team in a flurry has made itself over in the last few weeks here. You head into spring training now, seen as one of the better teams in the National League in the sport. There's an obvious question, just like I'd like to get into because you got asked this at the press conference. Your first and third basemen are going to be players who haven't played first and third base in their career in the major leagues. Bichette at third, Polanco at first. I wonder if you could talk about that transformation, how good you think they could be. And even, I know you live in Tampa and Bo lives in St. Pete. And at the press conference, you guys talked about maybe getting together and doing some stuff. And you, by trade, were an infielder when you were a player and an infield coach. What do you think about this transformation? And has it begun already with you and Bo?
Yeah, we're recording this in the afternoon, and I spent this morning with Bo and watching him take
Wow.
ground balls third base, and very encouraging. He's an athlete, man. We're looking at a guy that has played shortstop pretty much his whole career, right? And just watching him today, moving around third base, taking ground balls, creating angles, and then the throws to first base. I was like, just telling him, it's like, "Oh, like it looks like you played here before." So it was exciting that I had that opportunity today. He's super excited, working really hard. The hands, like I said, he's an athlete. I think it's just a matter of getting game reps, like that reaction time when as soon as the ball's hit, whether he's going to have to make that decision. Do I'm going to come in and get it? I'm going to go back and create a longer hop. Just things like that. There are going to be, like I said, only through game reps. So with that, feel comfortable there. You mentioned Polanco making that transition to first base. I think the game reps are going to be huge here. It's not so much about taking ground balls. I think it's just a lot of the things that happen throughout the course of the game. Meaning a ball to your right, how far is that second baseman playing? Getting used to, instead of breaking towards the baseball, you got to break back to the base. Getting familiar with your pitching staff, cuts and relays, and then taking throws. I feel like people at times think that you can put anybody at first base and he's gonna be fine. It takes time. It takes time. And again, we're gonna have to get creative here and trying to put Polanco and Beatty and Mark Vientos, a lot of the guys in backfield action, a lot of minor league games, because that's how they're gonna get better. It's gonna take time, but again, Polanco is an athlete. He's the guy that came up as a shortstop playing in the middle of the diamond. He moved around as well. And same thing with Beatty and Vientos, guys that got some experience there. But again, I feel like he's going to take some time as far as like getting used to some game action there.
Yeah, there's a debate on social media now whether Bichette should be in front of or behind Soto. Which way? I mean, obviously you've spent time thinking about this, and you know more about it than people on social media. Which way are you leaning now, and for what reason?
Yeah, it's too early, but I've been playing around some potential lineups. Everyone has to be healthy, obviously, and there's got to be conversations with players. But as I'm sitting here talking to you guys, I could see a Lindor, Soto, Bo out of the gate. Then you're looking at Polanco, Simeon, whoever's in the lineup. There's a lot of versatility. There's a lot of flexibility. I like the fact that there's a balance. I could put together a very balanced lineup, whether it's righties, lefties, the switch hitting from Lindor and Polanco. It allows me to protect certain guys. So I like our lineup 1 through 9. But since you asked about those three, I feel really good about it.
Carlos, there was a lot, and you addressed this at the winter meetings, I believe, but I wonder if you could for our show. A lot of questions about the temperature and temperament of your clubhouse last year. Obviously, nobody was talking about it when you had the best record in the sport through the middle of June. But as things kind of fell apart a little as the year went on, and you didn't make the playoffs, so it was a bigger deal. I wonder if you could tell us what do you think about your 2025 clubhouse, and do you feel there needs to be some, or has it already happened, some better coming together of Lindor and Soto, who are so clearly the cornerstones of what you're doing moving forward?
Yeah, look, I know there was a lot of noise, and like you mentioned, I addressed it a little bit during the winter meetings. Um, we had a professional clubhouse. When you're winning, everything is fun. Everything is, you guys got the best team chemistry. Everything is perfect, right? And then you go through stretches where it's hard, and you're not winning as many games. Then for me, and I take responsibility for it, because I think it became like a corporate clubhouse, where guys respected each other, but I don't think we celebrated each other enough. Again, when you're not winning, it's hard to celebrate, but whether it was a really good at bat, a really good play, uh, things that happen organically, we didn't do that. And I'm not sure if people start comparing 2024, that clubhouse with something else. You have Candelita there, who was a huge part of our success. And then we felt that, hey man, like 2024 was 2024. We got out of the gate winning a lot of games, and with the best record in baseball by the first week of June or something like that. And then boom, we hit the wall. But again, guys respected each other. But I don't. It became a very corporate, very formal clubhouse. You mentioned Lindor and Soto, two very very different guys. Soto is very business like. He's just a guy that comes in. He's got his uh, earpods on. He's going through his process. Lindor is more outgoing, more of like what we see or what you guys see on the field, where it's the big smile, and that guy that whether we win or lose is going to be the same guy. He cares. Obviously, they both care, and I feel like because of who they are individually, uh, it's just again a relationship that they care about winning, they care about each other, they care about their teammates, but they're two different personalities.
I'm with you on all that. I thought we didn't say anything about the terrible, allegedly bad clubhouse throughout the entire season. It seemed fine to me. It seemed businesslike. I would say the one thing, and I think these are both great guys. They are very, very different, Lindor and Soto. They are different. I would just follow up on that a little bit, and I don't mind putting you on the spot because I know you're a smart guy. You think there's something that can be done so that they would, it didn't feel like, I'm not there, like Mike Puma's there 150 days, but I was there a lot. And they didn't really interact very often. It was nothing really overly negative, but these are the two guys who are the cornerstones of the team. One's going to be there another 14 years, another guy another half a decade. Can anything be done to get them to be feel like they're closer? And again, they weren't at each other's throats at all. It wasn't anything terrible, but it feels like they could be closer.
Yeah, no, and look, and I feel like we all do that they got there once they got to know each other and kind of like because at the beginning Juan was kind of getting a feel for the team, getting a feel for his teammates, and same thing with Lindor, like okay, some of the new guys that we're getting here. But even when it got harder, when we were in winning games, like everybody got along well. Like, and I'm gonna go back to Juan. Juan is so I'm not gonna say shy, but he's just so into his personal routines and things like that. They get in a room on the hitters meeting and they are all talking, right? But people are making it okay. The interactions between Soto and Lindor. Soto is a guy that when you guys come in, you see him. He's pretty much uh, in his own personal space. And then he goes and you see him behind the scenes, whether it's in the cafeteria, in the kitchen, in the weight room, and the way he's interacting with his teammates is a completely different person. Again, but it took him a little bit. I'm gonna be honest here, where he was kind of just getting a feel for the room. But as far as those two, uh, they're they're in a good place.
You made a bunch of moves this offseason, and I think the one that is universally doubted, questioned the most, maybe, is Edwin Diaz is out. Devin Williams, Luke Weaver are in. What do you think about that flip flop? How comfortable are you with it?
Yeah, look, man. Edwin, we all know he's one of the best closers in the game, and he was so consistent for us. A guy that takes the baseball every time that he's available, and you feel good when you get to the ninth inning and you have the lead. Again, he earned it. He went to through free agency and make what he felt it was the best decision for him and his family. You hate to see him go, but at the same time, you feel really good with the guys that we got on board. Whether it's Devin Williams or Luke Weaver, guys that with plenty of closing experience, high leverage situation. Uh, Luke proven in New York. Devin got out of the gate and it wasn't easy, but they make some adjustment and it seemed like he turned the corner there with the Yankees. So I'm excited about those two and what they can bring to the table. Again, proven guys that take the baseball, that compete and want to win as well.
You touched on a couple of the new players, but how much better do you feel about this team than you did, let's say, 10, 12 days ago before the makeover actually came to fruition? I mean, it was a whirlwind 6 days, obviously, adding Robert, Bichette, and Peralta. Do you feel like this team is going to be better this year than it was last year?
Yeah, I mean, look, we got to stay healthy. I feel like we had a very good team last year, and when we started losing all the starters and we couldn't recover, and we all know that was a big issue for us when we lost Senga, when we lost Griffin Canning, Taylor McGill, and then Montas gets back and he goes down right away. Same thing with Sean Manaya. We couldn't get the best version of Sean. Um, so I feel like we had a good team last year, but I also feel like because of what Davey and the front office have done throughout the whole offseason and definitely the past week, with the latest transaction, I feel good with where we are at as a team. I feel like there's versatility, there's athleticism, there's more balance. The addition of Freddie Peralta and Tobias Myers to the pitching staff, I like where we're going here.
Carlos, the addition of Peralta, who's pitched at the top of the rotation for several seasons, including the very top last year, and a full season of McLean encourages me that you have guys who could pitch at the top, and yet it still feels like there are two wild cards that turn that into a deep, long, really talented, among the best in the sport, and that's where Manaya is and where Senga are. And we spent about 6 months asking you those questions last year, And it's probably as big a reason as you didn't make the playoffs as anything, is those guys just weren't what you thought. Where do you think they are, and how encouraged are you that you might get the best of them in 2026?
Yeah, I'm pretty encouraged that we're gonna get the best version of themselves. Again, we missed those guys last year. I feel like Sean went down in spring training and could never recover. And when Senga went down, he wasn't the same guy, right? But now both of them are going through their normal off-season routines and workout. I saw Manaya about a month ago. He looked great. He's already throwing off the mound, feeling good, feeling healthy. And same thing with Korai Senga. Um, some of our people were able to meet with him at the end of December and watch him throw a sigh. So he's feeling good. And again, those are the two guys that, if they are what we feel and think that they are capable of, man, we have a pretty deep rotation here.
What can you tell me about Freddie Peralta? And I know obviously the Skubal's name was out there. There were other pitchers traded. Where did he fit in for you guys? It seemed like he was basically at the top, considering Skubal was probably very unlikely and doesn't appear like he's going anywhere at this point. But what do you like about Peralta, and where did he fit in, and how big a relief is it to have a number one starter now to go with McLean? I mean, I don't want to write off McLean as a potential number one starter.
Yeah, look, feel really good about him. We all know the type of arm, the type of pitcher that he is, a guy that's pitching at the front of the rotation. But as soon as we acquire him, I got on the phone with a lot of people that have been around him, and everybody keeps telling me he's the quality of the person, how good of the human being he is, and how much he cares about his teammates, about people. And that was one of the things that he mentioned to me when I got on the phone with him. It's like, I'm willing, I'm planning on reporting early to Port St. Lucie so I can start meeting a lot of the new faces. That goes to show you there the type of guy he is. Again, super excited, and I can't wait to get to work with him.
Carlos, I think we'd be remiss if we didn't talk at least a little. We did on Diaz, but Nimmo and especially Alonso are gone here. There and McNeil, all homegrown guys, all like in some way historic Mets. The team doesn't have a great historic offense for players. Alonso's the all-time homer leader, obviously. I wonder if you could break it down a little. What the meaning of these guys leaving?
Yeah, I mean, look, nothing but appreciation. They did everything that we asked them to do. We're talking about guys that push. Pete Alonso playing pretty much every game for the past couple of years. His presence in the lineup, in the middle of the lineup, his presence in the clubhouse as well. Same thing with Brandon. This is a guy that takes a lot of pride of making himself available every day. Homegrown guys that knows what it takes to play in New York. And look, and same thing with Jeff. But there were some tough decisions there. And like I said, from my seat as the manager, nothing but just appreciation and thankful that I had the opportunity to work with them. And I wish them nothing but the best of luck moving forward.
Brett Beatty was really good last year. Defensively, he was at least on the metrics was the best of your starting players. And now he was going to be the third baseman. Now, obviously, you have a third baseman. Then he's going to be a left fielder. Benj could be the left fielder. We'll see. And also, Vientos 2 years ago was fantastic. And obviously didn't have the same year last year. What are your thoughts going into spring training about these two fellows who've been in competition, in a nice friendly competition for a long time, but it doesn't feel like they really have definite spots at the moment.
Yeah, we feel like there are going to be at bats. Again, performance matters, but they are going to get opportunities. The fact that Beatty can play multiple positions, we saw not only at third base, but how well he adjusted to second base last year. That he got to a point where we felt comfortable playing him at second base. He's got some experience in the minor leagues, in the outfield as well. And we're pretty comfortable and confident that he is going to be able to learn those two new positions, whether it's left field or first base, because of how good of an athlete he is. And again, their bats are going to be there. Same thing with Mark. Whether it's a first base, the DH, rotating those guys. We'll see what happens with Carson Bench in spring training. Another player that we are excited about it. But again, back to those two, it's going to be a healthy competition, and they're both going to contribute to our team.
Just because you mentioned it, Carson Bench, why are you excited about him? What do you see?
Yeah, there's a lot to like here. This is a guy that we were counting on playing center field before we acquire Louis Robert. That goes to show you that we are high on him from the defensive side. His ability to impact the baseball to all fields. There's power. There's strikes on discipline. He puts the ball in play. There's a lot of upside. All I'm hearing from our player development people is how the makeup, the aptitude. So there's a lot of things to like about this kid, and I'm excited to watch him play.
As a way to wrap up here, Carlos, look, you work with Aaron Boone for many years, and he kept making the playoffs. And at the end of every year, we'd ask him, "What do you think about your job security?" There's a guy who's making the playoffs. You're entering the final guaranteed year of your contract. You're going to again be at I think, the number two payroll in the sport with the expectation of big things or kind of bust. What do you think about your situation heading into 2026?
Yeah, the way I see it is I have a great opportunity in front of me. You got an owner that is willing to put all the resources in order to accomplish the ultimate goal, right? And you have a front office that continues to make moves to continue to improve our roster. And now it's up to us, and me as the manager, like you mentioned, in this situation, is a great opportunity. I know where I stand. I know, especially in my seat with so much expectations, coming off a disappointed year. Just the way I'm gonna go about it is be the best version of myself, and get the best out of all the people in the organization, whether you're a player, a coach. And again, the way I see it is a great opportunity in front of me.
Well, that
Let me
opportunity.
just
Go ahead.
just interview. I mean, you don't have to say anything because I don't want to get you in any trouble. But I mean, they should just pick up the option for the next year or extend you. We can't have a lame duck manager. You were obviously did fantastic in your first year. I mean, this is normally an opinion piece here, but I mean, why not pick up the option? I mean, this is what's the payroll? What are we at now? Over $350 million, right? I mean, this is a big responsibility. Anyway, that's just
Uh,
you don't have to say
I,
anything.
I appreciate that, but hey, I have a job to do, and I'm excited, to be honest with you.
John has a job to do also, but apparently he's edging for agent of Carlos Mendoza.
He has an agent. He has
Oh,
Adam Katz. Yeah, I'm not.
okay. That's
Don't
right.
get me in trouble
He
here,
shares
sir.
that with Aaron Boone also. They both have Adam, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So, look, this all starts for real kind of the day after the Super Bowl. The WBC means those guys are in a little earlier that Monday. I know I'm going to be there that day. It feels like it's going to be, again, an exciting time to be around the Mets, spring training, the regular season with all you did. And Carlos, we know you're busy. You went and saw Bo Bichette today, so we know you're busy. We appreciate you making time to be on the show here.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
All right.
Thanks,
All the best,
Carlos.
Carlos. Thanks.
Thank you,
See you guys
man.
soon.
Thanks a lot. You're the best.
John and I thank Carlos Mendoza, of course, and we're breaking our pattern of usual. We usually do hit or error here. We're just going to make it a hit. We got
It's a
Harrison
hit.
Bader with a little bit of news. He signed, as we're speaking, not long ago. He signed with the San Francisco Giants for 2 years. So, first of all, congratulations, Harrison, on signing with the San Francisco Giants.
Joel, thank you so much. Great to see you guys as always. I really always appreciate, these long seasons, in season, off season. You guys are always good to talk to, always good to see your faces. So happy to do on this side, just, having signed with a great team. So I'm very excited. So thank you for having me.
Well, go through it. Why the Giants? Why did it turn out this way?
Well, first and foremost, the opportunity. There's no doubt about it. All you can do in this game is just work to set yourself up for the best opportunity possible. I've always wanted to play as many games, have as many bats as possible, be on a winning team. The Giants could not be more perfect fit for me. So I'm just very excited. I love playing with superstars. Got a lot of really, really talented players. I came up with Chapman in the Texas League and in pro ball prior to the major leagues. Familiar with him, what he's about, and playing against Willie Adames for a number of years when I was with the Cardinals and he was on the Brewers. There's just a lot of superstars. Obviously Devers was a big acquisition for them last year. So it's a fresh front office. It's obviously a fresh coaching staff, some SEC ties and Tony Vitello, some familiarity with Tingler when I was with the Twins last year. So it's always good to be in a new place without familiar faces. So opportunity, the personnel, the players, it just was a perfect fit. And I'm just really, really happy it worked out because it's very rare in this game when things work out, pretty perfectly. So I'm just very excited.
What was the free agency like for you? I mean, obviously we still have my list is I don't have them right in front of me. I still got I don't know 100 names on the list, and we're 2 weeks away
Yeah.
from pitchers and catchers.
Yeah.
What was
Yeah.
it like for you? I mean, it's still a pretty long wait, even though you're ahead of 100 other guys.
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely. No, listen, it's a process. I think you have to put your faith in, your team behind the scenes. For me, that was my family first and foremost. Those are my coaches and my training staff and my biomechanics and everybody who's helping me be distracted from trying to sign with the team in the offseason. All those guys and my family, everyone did a great job of kind of distracting me and keeping me on a really, really positive path throughout this entire process. Because listen, teams have trades to go through. They have other signings. They have a certain amount of money that they need to allocate. So as they're building a roster, it's really important for us to just, as players, just remain calm, trust your representation, trust your support system, and hopefully know that, with the work and the season you put up, that things are ultimately going to work out. So keeping that faith, I think, allowed me to kind of just get through it. And I ended up in a great place, a great city, like I mentioned, a great coaching staff, a great locker room. So just keeping faith in that and knowing it'll work out, I think, what kind of got me through it.
Harrison, as comfortable as you are with it, I wonder if you could tell us about the process a little. You played on two different teams last year. Your trade to Philadelphia was a very important moment for the Phillies. You played extremely well for them, and that was a team that maybe on some levels, obviously the Blue Jays went to 7 games, but I know a lot of guys with the Dodgers. They were, because of your pitching, were so worried about the Phillies and getting through it, and who knows what would have happened if you guys would have gotten through. Can you take us through the process a little, or if you could tell us maybe teams, how close, why it takes till January 26th?
Yeah, sure. So like you mentioned, Joe, I mean, this is my third time going through the process of free agency. And again, I think based on the seasons you had, you really just want to set yourself up for the next opportunity. And for me, the past couple of years prior to this season, it looked like 1-year deals, which is fine because when your back is against the wall and you're really playing for something kind of bigger than just going out there and just playing ball, you step into a different level of focus. You step into a different level of training. You go to sleep differently, you wake up and go to the yard differently. And I really just kind of wanted to escape that. I didn't want to be known as a 1-year deal kind of mercenary type player. I really wanted to find a home. And I think last year and just coming off of an injury in 2023, 2024, kind of working through it, I really just want to hunker down and find a home. So that process was one that, you just got to wait it out and you have to follow the opportunity. Sometimes the dollar sign might not be reflective of the opportunity you're given on the field. So, you get an opportunity last year to play with the Twins. I mean, that was an awesome opportunity for me to play left field. I got to play every day next to a player I've loved and admired from afar for so long in Byron Buxton. And it was an opportunity that I just thought was great. I played left field in college and I wanted to attack it head on. And, I kind of showed that I still have the ability to play left field if need be. You just never know what tool you might have to pull out to be attractive to a front office. So kind of seizing that, getting to an opportunity where, I get traded, like you mentioned, to the Phillies. I'll just say this now too. I mean, my time in Philadelphia was probably some of the best baseball I've ever been a part of. That was the most incredible fan base that I've ever had an opportunity to play in front of for a couple months. I mean, you kind of go around that locker room, and I don't want to leave anybody out. But you talk about Bryce Harper, you talk about JT Realmuto, you talk about Trey Turner, you talk about Kyle Schwarber. I mean, those are guys that you just have so much respect for because the way I put it is they sit at a different table in the major leagues. The energy they bring, the talent they have, obviously their level of production, their level of consistency. Getting to share a locker room with those guys was something I'll remember for forever. And you talk about the front office and some of the personnel. I mean, Rob Thompson, Kevin Long, I mean, John Middleton brought his energy every single day whenever he was at the ballpark. It's just a fantastic ownership group. Dave Dombrowski every single day, whether it's on the road or in the game, before and after. It's just so many amazing people that I got an opportunity to share, baseball with and share the game with and share a locker room with. That just an amazing, amazing experience. And kind of using that to fuel that, I really did want to find a home. I really did want to find somewhere I can go for more than 1 year, like I have in years past. So San Francisco just gave me a fantastic opportunity to do that, and I'm just very excited to be able to step in the same way I have in other clubhouses in the past, and really just kind of settle in and be my best version of myself, not only as a competitor, but as a teammate. There's a lot of guys in there I know I can feed off of. There's a lot of guys in there I know I can support. I'm just very excited to go into it. This game and the pursuit of the ball, if you will, has just brought me to so many incredible places. It's put me next to and in front of so many amazing and talented baseball players. And it's just going to continue for longer than a 1 year term in San Francisco. So I'm just very grateful and I'm very excited.
You were really good in Minnesota, but you were great in Philadelphia. And obviously, you can only play for one team, and you never know what someone else is thinking. But any idea why you're not back with the Phillies? And also, what do you have against the Mets? I think you hit 1,000 against the Mets, or was it 2,000? I can't remember. Is it something personal?
No, nothing personal. I just, I think the game is trending in a different way. I think just understanding your opponent, understanding their pitching staff and what they're trying to do to a lineup, and going out there and just giving it your best and educated guess, and having familiarity with that pitching staff, kind of how they think, what they might be trying to do to me, because they saw me, up close, on the offensive side. So just taking my shot, and letting it show up when it showed up. And I think I just had a lot of success against the Mets, because I just kind of really settled into a good approach. But no, certainly nothing personal. I love those guys so much, and it's tremendous character and competition on that side. And anytime you get a chance to play against your friends, I think it makes it even more fun. And yeah, listen, with regards to the Phillies, I just think that they have a lot of people to worry about. There's a lot of money at stake, and it's not just as simple as thinking about me and my career when they're trying to construct a roster. So why I'm not with them, I don't know. I don't know, but it doesn't diminish the amazing experience I had there. It doesn't diminish the incredible 2 months, 2.5 months I had there. And baseball's a funny game. You always see those guys on the other side. This is always just about putting on a show for the fan base, putting on the show just for the kids watching at home. And I think tapping into that, now I get an opportunity to play those guys. Obviously, I'm really just looking forward to it. And you just never know what happens in the game. And yeah, I just think that they went a different way, which is totally okay. We always have our allegiance to the ball, just like we were as a young kid playing Little League. All I want to do is play in the major leagues. So I'm extremely excited that the Giants gave me an opportunity to continue to do that in a fantastic city, one that I've always admired coming in. I always look forward to those trips. So it's all in good fun. And I'm excited to see how it all shakes out.
Harrison, last thing, you mentioned a name before that I'm incredibly curious about, which is Tony Vitello and the
Yeah.
switch he's making here from the college game to the major leagues. Pat Murphy kind of did it. There was
Yeah.
an apprenticeship as a major league coach after Arizona State. But what I'm sure you probably have dealt with him a little now in this negotiation period. What are you thinking of him and his chances of making it?
Yeah, listen, I think it's awesome. I really do. I think it's great for the game. Baseball's the same at every single level. You add some people in the stands, maybe the game might speed up a little bit, but it is the same game. If you have success at a very high level in the SEC, there's no reason as to why you can't have success at the major level. And I'm excited for him and his family to go out there and test that. I know he's got the energy for it. Everybody I've spoken to who knows him, and I'm an SEC guy too. I'm cut from the cloth of Brad Whitesell and Kevin O'Sullivan. And for those guys who know those guys over at Florida, we're all cut from the same cloth. So that level of baseball, it really doesn't get better in the country, in the world, at that level. So I'm excited for him to take what he did, building a really, really good program at Tennessee. I'm excited to play for him, and work with him and grow with him and learn with him, because we never stop learning in this game, at the major league level. So it's going to be exciting. I know he brings a lot of energy. Everybody has the greatest things to say about him. That's all you can ask for. You just want consistent, high, positive energy every single day over the course of a 7, 8 month season. So I have no reason to believe he's not going to bring that. And I just can't wait to work alongside of him. So it's going to be great. I know he's excited. I know he's done a lot of things this offseason in creating that level of foundation of familiarity with a lot of his players, which is awesome. He cares a lot, clearly. So it's great. I'm just looking forward to it all. And it's going to start here, like you said, John, in a couple of weeks before pitchers and catchers report. So I just can't wait to dive into it all.
Yeah, Harrison, first of all, congratulations on getting it done.
Thank
We
you.
know it could be an arduous period. And really, John and I always thank you. You're a friend of the show. You jump on at a moment, literally a moment's notice in this
Yeah, yeah.
situation. So we thank you so much for joining us on the show.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I really appreciate you guys. And the story in the road continues on. So I'm looking forward to our next conversations.
Yeah.
Terrific.
The other guy we have to thank always is our MVP, Tommy Hogan, who also ad-libs great when we suddenly have
Yeah.
things. Tommy, thank you for doing that. Today is the first day of the California Post. People should look for it either on the newsstand, californiapost.com, online, Apple, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts. Please rate and review us. YouTube, Harrison will pretty it up from me and John. It will look a lot better with him on if you want to go take a look on YouTube. And Harrison said it. We're only a couple of weeks from spring training. The news is only going to get hotter and better, and the games are going to begin. Please stick with us on the show with Joel Sherman and Jon Heyman.